Hey guys, today is Saturday, March 28th, and I am working around the rain. Hopefully we can get through this garden tour. Today I just wanted to walk around my backyard garden and record what it looks like so far, show you guys some of the projects we've been working on, some of the things that are growing. There's not much growing, but I just wanted to share with you guys where we're at so far. I thought it would be really fun to do kind of a monthly garden tour maybe this year. Last year was our first year in this house and my first really big garden. We had just 2 garden beds then, and we ended up about doubling our space for growing just because I loved it so much, and I really enjoy growing our own food, and I just love the whole process of gardening. So this year I'm hoping to record everything that we. So here are the first 2 garden beds. These were the garden beds that were here when we bought the house. They were already in, so these were what I was working with last year. We actually have a couple things growing in here right now. This is garlic that I planted last fall, and it's coming up. It's one of those crops that likes to overwinter, I guess. I've never grown it before, but we'll see. I thought it was just kind of cool to see something that's already growing in the garden, and I discovered these in like February. They were already growing, so pretty cool, huh? Okay, so moving on to the second garden bed. I really don't have much planted in this one either. These are some strawberry plants that I actually transplanted. We used to have a strawberry patch over on the other side of the yard that we ended up moving. I did try to transplant a couple of the strawberry plants in here. I don't know if they're going to survive. I mean, they kind of look like they're alive so far, so that's good. Those over there are green onions. They're left over from last year. They're just hanging on. They won't let go. Over here is a little volunteer strawberry. I have no idea how that got there. We didn't put any of the dirt from the strawberry beds in this bed, but somehow this little guy managed to survive, so there he is. So now let's move over to the new garden bed. So Mike and I built this last fall. I designed it on a piece of graph paper. It is at its greatest thickness. It is 4 feet thick. The other garden beds were 6 feet by 12 feet, and I thought 6 feet was just a little too thick for me to be reaching over. You know, it's hard to like reach in the middle there, so I made this thing 4 feet. And we built it last fall. This spring we went to Menards and we actually purchased bagged topsoil to fill the beds. Now, I have to say the way that we did it is definitely not the most cost-effective way to fill your garden beds. If you're looking for more cost-effective ways, there are very cheap ways to fill your garden bed if you have access to dirt and you can alter the dirt and stuff. There's tons of videos on it on YouTube. The only reason we chose to fill our garden beds with bagged topsoil was convenience. We just didn't have really access to any other options or the time to deal with any other options. So that's why we did that. So I did plant a few things in here the day after we filled up the garden beds. I had to, but it was like early March, so I don't know how they're gonna do. I have some beets, onions, radishes, some Swiss chard, I think a row of lettuce, stuff like that. So these little trellises are actually from Walmart. I say little, they're like 5 feet tall. They're not little, but they're little compared to my big trellises. Those guys over there. But anyways, these ones aren't that sturdy. They're not going to hold squash or anything, but peas and beans aren't that heavy, so hopefully these work for there. So far I have planted a few varieties of peas around there, and let me jump over to the other side and show you the trellises from the other angle. So I planted peas here. I planted a row of red onion starts right here, and then I actually have space next to that for something later in the spring. I wanted to show you guys this guy. So this is a random little something that I found when we were digging around dirt, and Mike was like, hey, what is this? And I said, well, it's some sort of a bulb sprouting, so let's put it in the ground and see what it is. I'm guessing it's a flower, but I don't know. The day after we filled this garden bed, I did plant some seeds. I couldn't help myself. It was the beginning of March, and I live in Wisconsin, zone 5B. Pretty sure that's correct. And our last frost date is not until May 12th. So we still have a lot of time until we're clear of the danger of frost, but there are some cold weather crops that I've researched that you can plant. I haven't done it before, but I'm gonna try it this year and see. So there's like carrots and radishes, and I'll show you more in a second. Just some things that are either they'll just sit in the ground and wait to germinate until they're ready, or when they do germinate, they can withstand some of that cold weather and the frost won't like instantly kill them like it would a tomato or something like that. So I don't know, it kind of was an experiment. I put quite a few seeds in the ground, but the worst thing that could happen is they rot in the ground and they don't come up, and I plant something new there in a few weeks when it gets warmer, so I'm not too worried. Okay, over here I have a couple of broccoli seeds planted. I also have some beets and radishes. This is all gonna come out in the later spring, midsummer. Like this whole row here is gonna be for my tomatoes. So I might end up moving the broccoli or just, I don't know. We'll see if it even germinates. I don't know, it might be too soon, but eventually that's gonna be my tomato row. So over here we have a couple more of those trellises from Walmart. These again just have peas on them. Depending on the timing, I might end up putting beans on them after the peas are done, or I might put up some more trellises to put beans on. I haven't mastered either of those crops yet. I also did plant some parsnips in and around here. Just kind of in the in-between space, because parsnips are really long. They take a really long time. Last year I did them, they take like over 100 days. So I want them in a spot where I can just set them and forget them kind of thing. So that's what I was thinking with putting those there. And you can see there are some sprouts coming up, or some, what are those called? I don't know. They're from some sort of bulbed plant. And I think that they're going to be flowers, but I don't know what kind. They're all over this section of the garden bed. And what happened was this wall behind the garden bed here, that's where the strawberry patch used to be. So we dug that up and we ended up putting a lot of the dirt from that strawberry patch into this garden bed, just kind of used it as like compost and dirt to fill it up. And apparently there were some flower bulbs that had been planted in that garden bed. So those ended up in here, and I was just delighted to see them coming up. It was like all of a sudden one day all of these sprouts were coming up and I had no idea they were coming. It was just so cool. So it'll be fun to have some random flowers in this garden bed. Okay, let's talk about these. These are some grow bags that I bought. I ordered them off of Amazon, and the original reason I ordered them was to be for houseplants. I had a houseplant that I needed to repot. Obviously, I misjudged the size that I needed because that's way too big for my houseplants, and I don't even think I could handle a houseplant that fits into a bag like that. So I put them away, and then this spring I was looking for more receptacles to hold plants because I just love gardening and I just can't get enough of it. So we filled them up with topsoil from the same topsoil that we used to fill the garden beds. And I just thought they were a really nice little thing to put in this middle spot here in the middle of this sort of C-shaped garden bed, because the middle looked a little bare, but it wasn't, I don't think, enough space to build another garden bed in there, but I just wanted something to grow in there, you know, to use that space for something. So this is the perfect thing. So this one has red onions in it. Here you can see the little heads sticking up. They're just red onion starts that I got at Walmart. And the rest of them are gonna be for potatoes, seed potatoes. I'm gonna plant seed potatoes in the other 4 bags here. I've never grown potatoes before, so we'll see. I have no idea if it'll work out. I think it's a little too early to plant them yet, but I am really excited to try potatoes in these grow bags. Okay, let's talk about these trellises. I feel like these are gonna be the masterpiece of the garden once they are covered in green foliage and hanging gourds and squash and melons. It's just gonna be so cool. But I cannot take credit for this idea. I completely stole this idea from Jess and Maya from Roots and Refuge Farm, and they have all the info you could ever want on growing your own food and gardening and homesteading and everything, including how to build these. And that's where I learned. But they're just cattle panels. I think they're 16-foot long cattle panels, which is basically kind of like a fencing material that's slightly pliable. And we just bent it into this U shape and stuck them in the ground. Mike did most of the work. And these will be for my squash, my cucumbers, my melons, and I think that that's it. But that's a lot because I have a lot of squash seeds. I have so many seeds. So I'm so excited to see how these turn out. I hope that they work. They're definitely going to save us a lot of space in the garden. So those are our cattle panel trellises. I especially like this view. I think this will be such a cool view when everything's covered in greenery, you know? The next part is something that I really, really love, but I'm also kind of nervous to show on camera because it's right next to some like electrical post thing that's really ugly. Like it's an eyesore. We have quite a few like random little eyesores in our backyard, which is fine. It is what it is. But I notice it when I'm trying to like photograph my garden for Instagram or something, you know? So this is my lettuce garden, my future lettuce garden. So I originally wanted to do a gutter lettuce garden. I've seen those on Pinterest, but we didn't have any spare gutters and I didn't want to buy gutters just for that, you know what I mean? So I tried to think of something that could be an alternative that would be cheap or free, and I settled on tin cans. I used acrylic paint to paint them that I already had on hand, and I had Mike drill some holes in the bottom for drainage. And this is my lettuce garden. So as you can see, some of the acrylic paint is already cracking. It wasn't outdoor proof paint. That's probably what I would recommend if you do this project, but I didn't have that on hand. So I just used what I had on hand, and really what I wanted out of this was a rainbow in the garden. Like I wanted some source of a rainbow in the garden. And originally I was thinking maybe I'll do neutrals or maybe I'll just do like one or two colors, but I love rainbows and I could not pass up the chance to have a rainbow in my garden. Um, so I planted lettuce seeds in here already. As you can see, I have a couple of lettuce mixes and then a few leafy varieties. And I don't know how it's going to work out, you guys. It might totally flop, but I am just so excited to try. I'm so proud of myself for putting this together. This palette was it came with the topsoil that we ordered, so we had the palette on hand, and they're not secured in any way, they're just balanced, so you know that's another risk, but we'll see. I don't know, I'm just so proud of it. I think it looks so colorful and bright and delightful. I did make this little garden bed for Lila. She's my 9-year-old. She has been begging to have a garden bed for ever since I had my own garden last year. Ever since we moved into this house, she got the idea and she's been asking nonstop. So I kind of put this together. This is a spot where her turtle sandbox used to be, so most of the ground was already dead. There wasn't anything growing in there. Those branches that I used are actually from a half of a tree that fell into our yard last year. We saved a bunch of that lumber and I used some of it to build that, and then we filled it up with the topsoil, and yeah, she's gonna be able to grow her own garden this year. You're putting sticks in Lila's garden? So over here is our raspberry patch. These here on the end are blackberries. All of these berry bushes were here when we moved in, which was so exciting. Love raspberries. So this is the blackberries. I have to prune this or do something. I'm not totally sure, but it is quite overgrown. It grew over the winter. It's just going through the fence, and I got to figure out what I can do. There's some wire on the fence there, or I'll figure it out. And then these are the raspberries. So this is where the tree fell on our yard last year. You can see that sort of clean space of fence that looks new. That is the fence that was taken out by the tree. There is the tree right there, and you can see the chunk of it that fell into our yard. So yeah, so it took out the fence and it took out a bunch of my raspberry bushes, but they will come back. They are ever-bearing, so they do have their biggest crop in the fall, and then the second year stalks will have a smaller crop in the summer, and then new stalks will grow up that will then have another crop in the fall. So basically I get 2 crops of raspberries, which is really cool. And I'm still figuring out exactly how to care for these, but I do know that I have to prune at least the ends before springtime. So that is definitely on my to-do list. I just think there's something so beautiful and peaceful about a garden right before it's going to go to bloom. Do you know what I mean? It's like alive. You can't quite tell, but like you can feel it, you know? You can feel that it's just ready to burst, and it just really makes me feel connected to nature. One of my favorite things. So I don't know, maybe it's a little cheesy, but I just love gardening. Over here is what at one point last summer, I thought this was going to be my herb garden, but I hadn't realized how many flowers were planted in here. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few bulbed flowers that are planted in here. There's quite a few herbs too that are perennials. There's some oregano over there. There's chives, there's tarragon, mint that will come back. All of those came on their own last year. They were all here. So there are some herbs back here already, but there are also some flowers, and there's a rose bush, there's other things. So I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do. This is where the oregano will be, and then you can see I have markers on the ground there because I want to put stepping stones in here eventually, just so that I can access everything in there, because that was one of the hard parts, is it's very deep, so it would help to know where I can step. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do with that space yet. Here are some of these flowers that I was talking about. Are these tulips? I think these might be tulips, if I had to guess. That's what I would guess, but I'm not a flower expert or an expert on anything. I am just an enthusiast. Over here are some stumps that I had Mike put those stumps here. They're from the fallen tree, and I just thought it would be cool to have like stumps for seats basically around our fire pit. And then recently I added these additional little stumps with some pots just to give myself some extra planting space. Thought it made kind of good decorations, and then I also added a few more stumps over there. Okay guys, that is it for the garden tour. Thank you so much for watching this video. There will be more garden videos, most likely whatever day of the week it is today that this video is going live is going to be the same day and same number of weeks into the month that I post my garden tour. So I'm guessing this is going to go in the first week of April, which means you can expect the next garden tour around the first week of May, etc., etc. So I'm just not 100% sure on my schedule yet, but that's my plan. Also, I wanted to do a quick plug. If you are interested in improving your mornings, I did create a free mini course. It's 10 minutes to a better day. It's called Morning Sheets. It's a 2-page exercise that takes you about 10 minutes to do. You can do it every morning, and it really helps you clear your mind and get focused and come to terms with your emotions, all of the things that can stand in the way of us having a productive day. This is what my mini course is designed to help us work with, and it comes with a guide to kind of explain how the morning sheets work, and then it comes with a free printable morning sheets. So if you're interested in that, click the link below, join my email list, and you will get that for free and a bunch of other fun content. I put out fun, inspirational, educational, motivational emails a couple times a week, so I would love to have you on our email list. Alright guys, that is it from me. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more videos like this and more from me and my family, my life, all the things that I love. Thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye. This is crazy. Most of the garden tour that you just saw was filmed. The part with my face in it was filmed today, Saturday, but the part with the garden beds was filmed the day before, and I just want to show you what I just noticed today when I'm out here filming. Last night we got a ton of rain, and look, we have seedlings that have germinated overnight. This is so exciting. I don't know if you can see them all, but I believe these are carrots that have germinated, and oh my gosh, it's just so exciting. Look at those little guys. Hey guys. So we're over here. Oh my goodness, that makes me so happy. Got some radishes that came up over here. Oh, so exciting, you guys. It's starting. Yay.